You're watching the Cop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Salah to settle it in front of the Cop.
Hello and welcome back to the Cop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. What a night it was last night. We've got to follow that up with a big win on Saturday. Of course, this video is the match preview towards Everton versus Liverpool on Saturday. Goodison Park, early kickoff on Saturday. Very excited for this game, as I'm sure you all are as well. Remember, before we get into it, to like the video. Please do that. Comment with your thoughts, your score predictions and team lineup predictions. And obviously subscribe to the Cop TV if you haven't already. Massive shout out to Betmate, our sponsor for, as you're aware now, our match previews shows. As always, the link is in the description. Go and hit that. Download the Betmate app and see if you can beat my team. We're going to get it up on the screen now. Now, as you can see, fairly imbalanced. Obviously, you're allowed 6 players from the same team out of your 10 players. Sorry, 11 players, including 7 starters and 4 on the bench. As you can see, Alisson in goal. Although he's only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 10 games, which simply isn't good enough. Whether that's his fault or the defence's fault, you know, we can have a debate about that. But definitely having him over Jordan Pickford. Don't worry about that on Derby Day. The only Everton player I've got in the starting 7 is Nathan Patterson. I actually watched the Leeds game the other night and I thought he played fairly well. He's definitely one of their most positive things to talk about, being an Everton fan as at this minute. So Patterson squeezes in there alongside Trent, a Scouser. You can never write him off for the derby. Buzzing after obviously a double against Everton last year, Trent. So he's in. Again, hasn't been the best season from Trent. Now, I think it is a talking point that we should talk about. So let me know your thoughts about Trent's performances thus far in the comments. In the midfield, Fabinho is my vice captain purely because as you know already, you get points for tackles and interceptions on Betmate, and Fabinho, I assume, is going to make a lot of those. So I'm going for him to get me a 1.5 double boost if he's my vice captain with those tackles, and who knows, could even pop up with a goal. He takes penalties. He scored a few goals last season, so I'm having him in there. And my captain, Harvey Elliott. What a player. I mean, as you guys know, we keep speaking so highly of him and he deserves it. Without question, my favourite and I think the best player, the most consistent player that Liverpool have had this season so far. Obviously, we're only 6 weeks into the season, but he is some player. And what he did at the end of the game last night, where he comes over and gives his shirt to a disabled fan, I was literally standing right there. I mean, he can do no wrong in Liverpool fans' eyes at the minute, so keep it up, Harv. And then up front, 3 goals in 2 games for Bobby Firmino. The much maligned number 9 for Liverpool has been somewhat out of goal-scoring touch. I think before the Bournemouth game on Saturday, his last goal at Anfield was December 2020. So I'm so glad that he's turned that corner. Great finish against Newcastle last night. So he's up front with Mo Salah. Again, Mo Salah has created the most chances in the top 5 leagues this season with 21. However, lacking when it comes to him scoring the goals. 2 assists again last night. So you can't really grumble at his contributions. But I guess when he's not scoring, Liverpool don't score as many. I know that sounds like a very Michael Owen thing to say, but we need Mo Salah to pop up in the derby. Scored 2 amazing goals last year at Goodison. Really shut that fan base up and loves a goal in the derby. So Mo Salah's staying in the team. Pickford, Milichenko, Iwobi and Neil Maupay on the bench. I think he's just about got his work permit. So there's my 7. See if you can beat them. Link in the description. Betmate, easily the best, the most fun fantasy football to play week in, week out. The leaderboard is there. I see a lot of faces and names in that leaderboard that we know from the channel. So keep it up. Make sure you download it using the link in the description. Let's dive into the injuries and suspensions that both teams have. And also, by the way, I do want to touch about the fact that Liverpool today look like they're signing Arthur Melo on loan. But for Everton, injuries and suspensions, Andros Townsend, ACL injury still out. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, knee out. Ben Godfrey, fractured leg, he's out. Yerry Mina, ankle ligament injury. Doucouré is out with a hamstring. And Mason Holgate is also out with a knee injury. So, I mean, on average, those 6 players have played a lot of minutes for Everton in the last couple of years. And there is the old adage that, of course, the rule book or the form book gets chucked out the window on Derby Day. But these are a big miss to Everton, for sure. I was with Everton fans last night, funnily enough, outside Anfield. And they were hoping that they injure one of our players. So we're hoping for a win. They just want to injure us, guys. And obviously, we know what happened here last year and the year before. Horrendous injuries from Thiago and Van Dijk. So there's still a bit of bitterness in the air. And I think those injuries the injuries at least will definitely affect Everton's season in the long term. With no out and out goal scorer in that team, proven for Everton anyway, you can't really count Neil Maupay in that yet. The likes of Calvert-Lewin out, Townsend popped up with important goals. Yerry Mina's always a bit of a shithouse, so they'll miss him in the derby. And Decore's a good player as well. Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey as well. They would have loved to have been in this one, but they're both out. So for Liverpool, obviously we're still missing Thiago, Jota, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita. Obviously Darwin Núñez is coming back into the team on Saturday, but these names that we've still got out are still massive. We can't underestimate how big a loss Thiago is, especially, if I'm honest, in that midfield. And Henderson is also injured, picked up a hamstring injury last night as well, which is why Liverpool have reacted today on transfer deadline day, by the way, to go in and sign Arthur Melo on loan from Juventus. The 26-year-old Brazilian midfielder, the ex-Barcelona midfielder, hasn't played that many games for Barca or Juve, only 42 for each team in terms of league appearances. But he's the right age, he's the right mould of the player that Klopp is looking for. Obviously, I can't claim to know that Klopp was in for him throughout the window. I do think this is only because that Henderson injury last night, which makes me think, how did the club not have a target, or at least one or two of them, throughout the summer that isn't Tchouaméni? Klopp's spoken about missing out on him. But how have we not had 2 or 3 backed up to only, after Henderson gets injured, need to go into the market? I don't really understand that one there. And I know James had a very vocal and passionate speech about FSG last night on the COP TV on his fan cam. So make sure you go back and watch that. But yeah, Arthur Melo is maybe going to be in the squad. Who knows? I mean, I did hear he was injured, which just makes me laugh, to be honest. Apparently he's out for 2 more weeks. So we'll see what happens there. But listen, a player of pedigree. I've heard today, according to some, that he's the closest thing you'll get to Thiago in the Prem. So Arthur Melo, welcome to Liverpool. I hope this option of the loan does turn into a permanent transfer if he plays well, and we need him. And I think this is a decent cover option for when we need to go and we have to go and we must go big in the transfer window come January or the summer, especially when it comes to midfielders. Curtis Jones back in training, Joel Matip back in training, Thiago maybe a little bit longer. Maybe we're looking at the Chelsea game on September the 18th for him. But all those injuries combined for Liverpool still don't allow us to put our full team out. And I think when we see, finally, and it seems like some mythical thing, a mirage that's so far away to reach, but when we see these top players coming back and playing games, we're really going to see a different Liverpool. And if we don't, then we worry. At the minute, the players that we have are doing a great job. If you look at the last 2 Premier League games, but as soon as those big names come back in, the Thiagos, the Jotas, the Núñez, we're going to see a different Liverpool team. Let's talk about Darwin Núñez. Was in the stands last night saying F you to the Newcastle bench when they launched missiles at the Liverpool bench. 2 members of staff from Newcastle are bound to get fined for that, if not the club are, for that outrageous behaviour on the touchline last night. But Darwin looks bang up for it. Now, let me know in the comments, a big question. Bobby Firmino is our number 9. He's been scoring goals, 3 in the last 2. Do you start him and bring Núñez on? I think there was maybe an issue, which is still a bit of a worry, that Núñez could come on and lose his head and get sent off again, which obviously no one wants to happen. But at the same time, I think you go with Bobby, the form man. You go with Bobby and you let Núñez come on. And we've seen what he can do from the bench against Man City and Fulham already. And I think that's the plan with Núñez. And then Jota looking to come back in the next couple of weeks as well. We need all the help that we can get up there, as well as the likes of the Ox, Keita all coming back. We're so light. But getting into the team lineup prediction, I'm going to go Alisson in goal. There were shouts to bring Kostas Tsimikas back into the 11. Unbelievable from him last night when he came on for Robertson. Won every header that he went up for. Really, really impressed. But I think for the derby, you play Robbo. I think you also bring Matip back, if I'm honest with you. Not that there was necessarily a massively bad performance last night from Joe Gomez, but I'd bring Matip back in for this one if he can. We saw him slamming the floor last night passionately when we scored that second goal in the 98th minute. But yeah, I think he comes back in. I think you play Trent, obviously, in the derby. The midfield, Henderson is probably going to be out, which means you probably play Milner. You probably start Milner in this one. You probably play Harvey Elliott. And the other big question is, do you play Fabio Carvalho from the start? Do you bring him on? Obviously, the next name will be Fabinho in that midfield. And then the front three, I think, stays the same. Diaz, Firmino and Salah. And then if we have Nunez to come off the bench, Carvalho, then we're a lot different proposition. Definitely. And I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. I'm going to go with 2-1. I think being a derby game, it's going to be tight. They haven't actually won a game yet, as we all know. And love to let them know again and again. They're going to be bang up for this. And I think if Lampard goes down without a fight in this one, I think it's a very, very long road for him to get back up. Just like it is for Stevie G at Aston Villa now. But I'm going to go with a slim Liverpool win of 2-1. Let me know in the comments what you think the score is going to be. We're going to have a show after the game for you with some footage from Goodison. James is going to be there as well. But I'm really looking forward to this game. It's going to be tense. It's going to be tight. It's going to be scrappy. It's going to be a lot of time wasting. On time wasting, I just wanted to bring up this stat I saw today. Now, Matty Renton, I love him. He's one of my best mates. But he seems to have maybe skipped over the fact that there was a lot of time wasting last night at Newcastle. And this is from Dinesh Kumar at the Times. He says, the ball was out of play in the second half of Liverpool versus Newcastle. Get ready. For over 18 minutes, which includes 2.5 minutes of stoppages alone in injury time, which was a 5 minute. So 5 plus 2.5 is 7.5. We scored after 7.5 minutes after the 90. Also, Nick Pope faked an injury at 92 minutes 30, and it took 94 seconds for play to restart. At 96:34, exactly 94 seconds after the 5 minutes added time, Liverpool won a corner, which won them the game. So I don't want to hear about, they scored 2 minutes past. If you waste time, if you fake injuries, if you simulate, if you kick the ball away, then that time will get added on. I'm not sure if people understand that. So, Matty, if you're watching, cheers, mate. But that was a massive win for Liverpool. The feeling inside that ground last night at full time was palpable. It was unbelievable, man. And if you were there, you'd know. But there you go. Liverpool away at Everton on Saturday. The early kickoff on the first game of the weekend. Really can't wait for it. I hope you guys are too. And don't forget, next week we'll be back in the studio for Hot Copics. There's been a slight booking fault there, so we're going to be back in the studio next week. I won't be there, but James, Ruby, Mario will all be there, so I can't wait for that. And until then, remember to hit the link in the description, the Betmate link, to join Betmate and beat my team and win some money. £1,000 up for grabs. But until then, on Saturday, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Remember to like, comment and subscribe to the Cop TV, the voice of football's most famous stands, for a lot more Liverpool content.
Remember to check out our Shopify store for this beauty and much more. It's the new Luchito's Way Diaz t-shirt based on Luis Diaz and Carlito's Way. It's out now, designed by Ruby.
And there's going to be so many more.
There is. Make sure you're involved. Go and buy this now and use the Cop TV 15 for a little discount if you want.